Okay, welcome back to the Investigative Journal on this July 6th, 2015 day on our calendar. I'm your host, Greg Anthony, and you're listening to FirstAmendmentRadio.com. Catch my show every evening from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. That's on FirstAmendmentRadio.com. Okay, today we're going to talk about, again, I've been finishing up, I've done a number of shows on the shape of this place we call Earth. And like I said, there are many ways to look at this, and I've explored every one. I've listened to every one: Christians, Buddhists, atheists, Catholics, whatever you want, every religion, every known spiritual idea regarding this subject. And we got a whole bunch of different ideas, as usual, just like we have a whole bunch of different ideas about everything. And that's normal. And you know what really counts at the end? My idea for me. What I conclude is really all that matters, isn't it? And it's all that matters for you, isn't it? So you can conclude what you want, and we all go away agreeing to disagree, and some of us will agree to agree, and then there will be those who disagree to disagree, and there will be those that have no idea about what the heck we're talking about. But anyway, there's a lot of different ways to look at the shape of this Earth. Now, let's talk about it in terms of what it really is. Okay, it is called the Earth. There are people who think it is a globe. And if you follow what NASA tells you and Copernicus, since the time of him and all throughout history, after the so-called people who thought the Earth was flat were considered dumb, you'll find that many people think the globe exists. We are a globe, a round ball, sort of round, not completely round. And we are traveling at high rates of speed through a universe that is never-ending, with planets and all these different things that go on for infinity. I mean, there could be different galaxies, could be different solar systems, then there's gravity, and all of these things that we are taught since the time we start going to school. Now, there are people that believe that. Now, I received an email from someone who believes that theory, and I was saying satellites do not exist because they can't exist in the thermosphere that is way too hot. Now, I received an email. It started off like this. I'll just paraphrase. You idiot. That is me. Don't you realize? Yes, and it goes on to explain. Yes, the thermosphere is hot, but it's really not hot because it's a vacuum. And if it's a vacuum, then it's not that hot, and all the satellites can exist up there. Okay, that makes absolutely no sense. If it's a vacuum, everything be sucked into it. All right, but then they'll figure out some other way to confuse you, and they'll put up all of these, you ever love these people that get to a blackboard, they go P/8. I can do that too. And go, now I know what I'm talking about. I have no idea. That math makes absolutely no sense. And so I wrote the guy back and I said, listen, you may want to reevaluate who's the idiot if you follow NASA. And he told me to just go to Wikipedia for the answer. And I said, if you believe Wikipedia and NASA, maybe we ought to reevaluate who really is the idiot. Okay. So we have a whole bunch of people, including most people I know, that are going to believe NASA. Now, I'm just going to tell you a couple symbols that they may have that may make you wonder what they're all about. Now, NASA's symbol is a circle with a serpent, a snake, going through a flat disk. So what does that tell you? It tells you a lot. What is the United Nations symbol? It's a circle Earth map, similar to the map that was made. I did a whole show on the 1892 New Standard map that you can go and find on the website. And look at that. And then we get into, so those are two little things to look at. Now, from there, we have people citing the Bible who are claiming that the earth is stationary, but it's a globe. And they believe that. And then they'll cite certain Bible verses that verify that. Okay. Now, then there are other people, other Bible believers, and I'm not even going to get into those who look at the Hindu texts and the Buddhist texts and all that. We can save those for other shows because those get interesting too. Let's just stick with the Western Civilization Bible. Then we have other Bible believers who have contacted me who state, no, the earth is a circle because there is, and they believe that the Bible states that it is not, it never states anywhere that is it a globe or a ball, and that it's a circle and a firmament. And all of these things, which means we're enclosed in this firmament. Okay. So certain Bible believers believe that it's a globe, stationary, sun and moon go around it, and others believe that it's not a globe, it's flat, or a circle, and the sun and the moon orbit above us. Okay. Now, is there really any, now let's just look at that. Now, I don't see any, from anybody that sent me anything, both sides of the Bible believers, where the word globe or ball was used. Now, there's some circumstantial phrases in the Bible that you can say, okay, maybe he was talking about a ball. But, there are there's clear words that say circle in the Bible. So a circle is not a ball. So I tend to lean towards the circle theory. Okay. There's others that don't. But let's move a little further. Let's just surmise that we don't know who's right. Well, we don't. But if the earth is a globe and it's stationary, then those people that believe that, a globe stationary, and the Bible verifies that, then they have to admit that they're going to have to accept some of NASA's thinking as far as gravity, as far as other things that they tell us. And that, to me, is a little bit interesting. How can you side with NASA if God says do not side with evil? Okay, I'm just asking. Maybe you got an explanation. Now, those that believe the earth is a circle would seem to be in complete contrast with what NASA says and all of their principles of gravity and all that kind of stuff. So, think about that. Now, when we even move farther, let's just say that's what the Bible guide has told us, if we're just talking about Western civilization. And we are in Western civilization. Now, does that mean you shouldn't test it in your own mind? No. Everybody has a right to do that. And the Morley-Mickelson test, which took place in England over a 6-mile stretch on a flat piece of river, on some water, and they measured, in fact, that if they went from one point to the other and showed that there was no curvature. And if there was a 6-mile curvature at 6 miles, using mathematics, and I've went over this in other shows, there should be a curvature, and the points that they were looking at would never be seen, proving that those calculations of a curvature at 25,000, a circumference of 25,000 miles, and a curvature, they would never be able to see the points they had on their experiment. Now, a modern-day Morley-Mickelson experiment just took place just about a week ago in Monterey Bay. And a avid researcher took a laser at a cove, I think it's Lover's Cove or something in Monterey Bay, and took a sheet of metal or something, and then had a camera about 4.3 miles away, and they shined the laser. They didn't want to shine the laser across. You might blind somebody. They put the laser beam down at about 3 inches off the ground, and that camera at 4.3 miles could actually see that beam. Now, at a curvature of 4 miles, it's impossible to see that. Another Morley Mickelson experiment. Now, the horizon to me is a great example of proving, at least in my own mind, because like I said, to me, that's really all that's going to matter, what I conclude in the end. And for you, that should be the same thing. If you conclude the Earth is like NASA says, hey, that's all that's important to you. What do you care what I think? And I don't really care what you think. And if you're a Bible believer that thinks it's a ball, that's up to you, and that's your conclusion, the most important conclusion for you. So what do you care what I think? I'm not doing this show so that I can get everybody to believe what I'm thinking or what I conclude. Because I conclude, very simple, the Earth is a circle. It is not, I don't like to use the word flat because it isn't flat, it's mountainous. So, I mean, people think flat, a disc. No, it is a circle with a lot of bumps in it, mountains and stuff. And I believe there's an ice wall around it. And I don't believe in the South Pole. And that's all that's really important to me, because I've come to that conclusion. Now, how can I ever get that conclusion changed? There's only going to be one way. I'm going to have to see it for myself. I'm going to have to see the Earth from above, and I'm going to have to go to the outer edges to find out. That's the only way that's going to change my mind. And maybe if you believe that it's a ball and it's stationary, then you should stand strong on that the rest of your life, and the only way to change it is to do the two things that I said. And if you believe in what NASA says, that we're spinning around in a Earth's orbit and all this garbage, and you believe in space shuttles, and you believe in astronauts that go up to the moon and all, say, hey, it's fine. And the only way you're never going to believe it is if you see it for yourself. All right, so we all come to the point of agreeing to disagree. However, does that preclude the fact of the information that I'm giving you? No, because what I'm trying to say to you is that if there is a deception, whether it's round and it's stationary, or it is flat or circle and stationary, we have a bit in common. Us people that believe that it doesn't move, like NASA tells us. We do have a little bit in common. And I think for the better of everything, we should band together, because we may find out things that really are interesting. The point is, what is the big deal about this? I think it's a huge deal, because it is the ultimate deception of all. And back in 1956, I have a fun show planned for you today. I'm going to talk throughout the entire show. Yeah, in 56. Now, I've been looking into this deeply, and there's societies out there. There's one called the Flat Earth Society, which many people believe is a COINTEL organization that's there to lead you into, they believe the Earth is flat, but then they present some crazy things like other people do in other truth movements to lead you astray and to basically discredit any form of truth. Now, we know when Obama recently on one of his press conferences, or when he was speaking to somebody, had even mentioned how crazy people are who think the Earth is flat. When they start talking about that, you know that they know it is flat. And I think they do. And I think that's why the Antarctic Treaty is there, to protect us, to protect them from us ever investigating deeply. It's hard enough. But when you go down there and you want to try to find out if there's an ice wall, you get arrested. Why? They're protecting some lie. Now, in 56, I think there was a guy, Samuel Shenton, who died in 1971. He started what was called the Flat Earth Research Society, which is, I think, comprised of people, and not a big group because not many people nowadays want to follow this theory. We're honest people trying to get to the truth, as opposed to the Flat Earth Society who are still around today that are, I think, controlled opposition people. So Shenton died in 1971, and then the late Charles K. Johnson, former president of this research society, he claimed a lot of different things. He claimed it that the Earth basically, if you go back to even Moses will also believe that the Earth was not a globe either. And he said that the fact that the Earth is flat is, in my opinion, it is a proved fact, he thought. All errors within quotations were in the original text and not mine. And what he was talking about, he said this: the International Flat Earth Society is the oldest continuous society existing on the world today. It began with the creation of the creation. First the water, the face of the deep, without form or limits, just water. Then the land sitting in or on the water. The water then is now being flat and level, as is the very nature of water. There are, of course, mountains and valleys on the land, but since most of the world is water, we say the world has to be flat. And you know what? You people that believe in stationary Earth and its globe, or you believe that a globe spins around, explain to me, water goes to the lowest level. Should all flow down to the bottom, right? But then you're going to believe in gravity, and then you're going to believe in what NASA says. So basically, explain that to me. So he was saying that there's a bunch of stuff. You ought to go to a book. It's published, it's the Zetetic Astronomy, and published a 430-page edition, Earth Not a Globe, in 1873. This publication was a household name in Victorian England. But let's look at Zetetic Astronomy. In its slightly revised form is used by the Flat Earth Society's former president, Charles Johnson. According to Johnson, what shape is the Earth? Perfectly circular. What is supposedly at the center of the Earth? The North Pole. The flat Earth, or the circular, spins around the North Pole. Early Jewish and Christian maps placed Jerusalem. Now, when I say the spins, I'm talking about the sun and the moon spinning around a circle Earth. Early Jewish and Christian maps placed Jerusalem as the allegorical, if not literal, center of the world. According to Johnson, also, the South Pole doesn't exist. Now, with how much time we got here? I got a couple of minutes. The entire known universe is literally under what is called a firmament. He said, vault or dome of heaven. How high above the Earth's flat surface is it? Johnson said 4,000 miles. Johnson claimed that the whole of the universe is contained under this firmament. The original Zetetic theory placed the firmament at about 600 miles. So we got a little bit of a discrepancy here. But I do know if you use a sextant and you measure the distance and the which you can do if you know how to use a sextant, and you measure the distance and the size of the sun, you will see it's about 40 miles across and about 3,000 miles away. Not 93 million or whatever million miles as the people around us at NASA tell us. Now, I can move forward here, and I'm going to do this real quick. Now, when you go for a walk, I'm going to ask you to do really simple things. And I'm looking at a picture now, and I've seen this picture in my mind, or when I was out at the beach or walking, when the sun is shining down on you and it's pushing sun rays toward you. And I say when you go for a walk, look carefully at the rays of the sun and how they come to you. if you do an artist's rendition of it, you'll see the angles. So look at this image without prejudice when you're looking at it in your mind. What do you observe about the position and distance of the sun from the ocean surface? Now, what happens is the sun's rays always come right to you. Now, if you think about this, form a triangle from the sun to the point on the earth where the sun has hit your feet. And it's about an equilateral 60-degree triangle to the image, and rotate the triangle. This is really fun because you can do this on your own. When you start rotating it, it forms a circular, it's a circle, half circle. And this tells that the depth and angle of the rays that the sun is not 150 million kilometers away. Yep, that's what it does. And isn't it funny, when you're on the ocean or when you're walking, those sun's rays always come all the way to you. If the Earth and if the sun was 90 million miles away, it would never do that. But we don't use our common sense anymore. Nothing matters as long as we have an expert telling us, whether it be an expert in the Bible or an expert at NASA. They always seem to want to sway you to believe what they want to believe. Now, if the sun, I'm saying, was 150 kilometers away, the sun's rays would be at the same angle from your perspective, like this. Like what I'm saying, it would come straight down, not coming to you. And it's not the way it is. And you got to do your own tests when the sun's out, especially when you see the rays coming through some clouds. That's when you can really figure it out. You would see this across the entire landscape as far as the eyes can see. These rays coming straight down, but it's not the way it is. Never has it been that way. And if you picture this, they would be coming straight at you all across the horizon, straight down, not the way it's from one point and then flowing right to you. That's just the common sense. Look at it. But where is our common sense gone? It's gone right out the window because we prefer to get our information from so-called experts now. Makes it easy. What do we care? What do we care what shape it is? And they got to know better than me anyway. They got to know better. You got to be a real scientist. You don't have to be a scientist to figure this out. You have to be a thinking human being, which is very rare these days because everything is made so easy that we don't really need to think, do we? And isn't it easier just to lay back and say, who cares? Apathy is the way to go, isn't it? And so, in the end, you're going to just cling on your thoughts to those who are experts. We'll be back on the Investigative Journal in 3 minutes.
Hear it first on FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. That's crosstheborder.org.
I know you all want answers, and believe me, so do I, and I'll do my best to get them.
Despite Nicolas Cage's promise to do his best to get left behind rapture answers for us, don't hold your breath. Not everyone believes Left Behind is true prophecy. Some may even regard as conspiratorial the mainstream re-release of the Left Behind movie with actor Nicolas Cage portraying the main character as an attempt to further reinforce in the minds of all this perception of false prophecy, in order to condition the masses for the play about to begin. If you want true Bible prophecy answers, get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. The author exposes the Latin rapture origin, the 7-year tribulation deception, true Bible revelation of Daniel's 70 weeks, the abomination of desolation, the restrainer, America in the Revelation, the image of the beast and the mark of the beast, and the truth about God's chosen people, and so much more about Bible prophecy. This book will shatter the left-behind paradigm of future events. Get the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of the book, The Rapture Will Be Canceled. That's crosstheborder.org.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host, Melody Cedarstrom, right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, 1-800-375-4188.
Okay, so we're back on the Investigative Journal, and you're probably wondering why I am presenting this information. Well, I'm presenting some of this information and a lot of information that I've given you in the past to show you why I have come to the conclusion that the Earth is a circle and that it is stationary. It is the center of everything, and that there's an ice wall around it. There is no South Pole, as we're taught. And the Earth is not a globe. And I'm telling you, these are the reasons why I've come to that conclusion. And I want you to do the same for whatever you may think. If you think it's a globe that's stationary, then you should have all the information, including your own common sense when you look at the sun's rays and all of these things. And when you do some experiments like a sextant, and when you start thinking of gravity and really showing that really, to me, gravity does not exist, you would have to admit, if it's a globe and it's stationary, that gravity has to exist. Otherwise, people on the bottom would fall right off, right? And so where do you get that information from? Is it from NASA? From the experts? So tell me how you've come to your conclusion. And you people that believe in NASA, you tell me. Well, I always get emails from them. They're always telling me, because they tell me to just go to Wikipedia. Okay. So I'm just showing you what I do, just a little bit of what I do. Now, I've used a sextant and measured just like old astronomers, or just like old sailors did, and came to the conclusion, my conclusion was it was 42 miles and 3,250 miles away. That's what I found when I did this. We were sitting fishing one day, a couple days, we were trying to catch fish to make some money. And we had time on our hands. Because, when the fish aren't biting, you got to do something, right? You might as well figure out. I used to like to drop anchor and do a little diving as well, see what's under the boat, and then also see what's above me. So there. Now, okay. So we have the idea of the sun's rays coming through the clouds is a great way to prove my point. And that's why I believe it. And like I said, I think that's the most important thing. The conclusion that I've come up with is for me, not for you, not for anybody else. And you should have your own conclusion as well. And the reason that I'm doing this is not to try to persuade you. I could care less what you think. I really mean that. I mean, I'm going to listen to it. I put it into my thinking patterns of how I've come to these conclusions. But I'm not doing this to lead you to believe that. This is what I came to the conclusion, and that's the most important thing. And your conclusion should be the most important thing. But show me how you've come to that conclusion. That's all. And if we agree to disagree, then fine. So we got this beautiful idea of looking at the sun's rays coming through the clouds. That's really the best time to do it. Now, when the rays come at you, it tells you that the sun is above the clouds and not 150 miles away, a million miles away. If the sun were 150 kilometers away, the rays would be all in one line. They would have to be. Think about it. Now, how can all the rays be in a line and only those rays by you disperse through the clouds? They would all have to disperse. Watch the sun's hot spot on the ocean floor. Comes right to your feet. And that's when the sun's setting. That's a beautiful time to do that. I wonder how the hot spot stretches from the horizon all the way to my feet if it were 150 million kilometers away. It wouldn't. It couldn't. It can't. Common sense. Now, if the Earth is a ball, the light cannot curve around the ball because the sun is setting behind the ball. You people who think it's a globe and stationary, too. It would set behind the ball, and the rays would not come to your feet like they did the other day when I was at La Jolla Shores. Think about that. They would stop. I would see them stop because the ball would stop it, right? The only way the light can reach me is if the water is flat from the horizon to me. Circle Earth. Interesting. Now, if there's no globe or word in the Bible, and I proved it with my common sense, I'm more likely to believe that God meant the earth to be a circle and not a ball. That's my thinking. I notice that wherever I go, the light always follows me from the horizon to me. Now, I'm asking you to use your, I'm not asking you to look at pictures. I'm asking you to use your mind's eye. I notice wherever I go, the light always follows me from the horizon to me. Always. Test it out sometime. This can only happen if the ocean is flat and not curved. And all of you people who live near water bodies, whether it's the Great Lakes or the Atlantic, Pacific, Gulf of Mexico, man, we got a perfect place to prove that. And that flies right in the face of a globe stationary Earth and a globe spinning Earth. Remember, you're only looking directly at the sun if the sun was 150 million kilometers away. Back from you, the light cannot reflect off the ocean. Impossible. And so, therefore, the sunlight would be shining directly at you and cannot reflect off the ocean floor. Can you kind of grasp that? The sun would have to be above you, shining down on the ocean floor, and it is moving away from you, but still always above you. These are simple things you can do. But people don't want to think. It's easier just to listen to the Bible experts or the experts at NASA. As the sun sets, watch your shadow. It will elongate as it gets darker. This tells us the sun is moving away from your position. If you think the Earth's a turning ball, then stand by a wall. At sunset, your shadow should move up the wall as the angle of the sunlight changes. Try that one. Because there are 360 degrees in a circle, artists understand that when two people on the same plane observed an object at 60 degrees to themselves, that the distance between the two people would be the same distance. Oh, that's a bit complicated. I was just thinking in those terms. But it's all pretty simple. I would say that when you do the simple horizon tests, it's really something you can do. And there's other little tests you can do, like measuring the distances of the sun and the moon and all those different things. And it really becomes quite interesting. Now, I know there's people out there want to know more about how the sun and the moon work, and I've got some information. When you're looking at the moon's different phases, it's an interesting study, and we'll get into that in a minute, hopefully if I have time. If not, I don't know if I'm going to have time, but one question. Now, if you believe NASA, how come no one on the Earth has ever seen it from Earth? If the center is 1 billion times bigger and stronger than our sun, as the Earth is a ball, someone should be able to see the center within his naked eye. That's interesting. I'm talking about the sun. So anyway, we're going to go back and look at a few things here. The entire known universe is what? Is it like NASA says? Or could it be a firmament, a vault or dome of heaven? How high above the Earth's flat surface is this? Johnson and some of the people that study this at the Flat Earth Society research group said it was about 4,000 miles. Now, we can start beginning to grasp what's happening, but what can we do on the Earth? You know? I think I've given you the flat Earth cosmology kind of in a nutshell. And I believe, Johnson said, they accused, the reason that NASA exists is to try to get rid of Jesus and with a heliocentric universe. And Copernicus was one of the first ones, he says, that tried to do this. And the Bible says that Jesus went up to heaven, and Johnson says the whole point of the Copernican theory is to get rid of this Jesus by saying there is no up or down. Sounds a bit funny considering the fact that Copernicus was nominated for canon of the cathedral at Freiburg. Not really. Not mention his dedication to Pope Paul III. If you really understand the evil Vatican, you'll understand this isn't. Perhaps a lot of these people in the Flat Earth Society didn't study the Vatican as much as I have. So you got to put this into the mix too. But I could understand they'll go either way, whatever works for them, because basically they're the Antichrist. Now, we got a lot of research on all of these subjects, and where is it going to lead? Well, one thing I'd like to talk about, the space shuttle. Now, Johnson, he claimed, as it was built near to where he lived, that there is no such thing up there. His claims included the white surface was held on with epoxy, and half of it fell off when they tried to move the shuttle, because he was watching it being built in the Mojave Desert. He said the heat-resistant bottoms could not be made to stick, and they were doing this, he says, as a front to make people believe that they were going to go up there in a space shuttle. Very, very interesting. He claimed that he was near Edwards Air Force Base, is where a lot of sci-fi TV shows were filmed. Interesting. What's the oldest flat Earth cosmology? Goes way, way back. And maybe 5,000 BC. Oh, there's so much more to talk about. And I'm kind of looking at things from a different perspective here. And let's see. I wanted to mention this. And there's a guy that I want to put on here, because he had some good things to say about this. So let's listen to it for a few minutes. And I don't know if I've referred to him yet. He's kind of a straight-talking kind of guy. And we will get to him in a second.
Hey everyone, Risk vs. Thrive and Survive, May 23rd, 2015. This is take number 8, I think. I want to talk about the great deception that's coming upon the Earth. And this deception is going to make all the other deceptions look like peanuts. It's going to make 9/11 look like kindergarten. All right. Why is the great deception coming? And how do I know it's coming? We have a situation where we have had the elites in control of the world for quite a long time. It probably started in the East India Trading Company, maybe even before that, who knows. But they've been biding their time for a long, long, long time. We know from just looking at the back of our dollar bills that in 1776, with the different sayings we have on the dollar bill, like out of chaos, order, things like that, and the New World Order is on there, that they've been going for this for a long time. And they know, and we know, that they are getting to the pinnacle of being able to bring this to be. So how do you bring something that's going to be a total change of everything you know to be? All right? Everything you know is going to change. Everything. How the world's governments work, how the monetary system works, what kind of privacy you think you have now is going to be gone. Total control by the elites, and it's going to be a grip like this on everybody. It's not going to be this gentle little flowing river thing. Remember, they want to get the population of the Earth from 7 billion down to 500 million. And they will work to do that, probably through war, but most definitely through fear. They have learned, and we should learn by now, that fear is the tactic that is used. All right, that's what they used with 9/11. The boogeyman was Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda. And from that, how many millions of people have been killed, how many billions of dollars have been spent, and how many lives have been ruined because of that. And our entire economy is ruined because of it. Whole people's lives over. Made the American people, oh, please protect us. They're going to come over here and bomb us because Osama's got weapons of mass destruction. And he works with terrorists, so they're going to be able to get him on bombs, on rockets, probably from Iran or Korea, and they're going to shoot him over here. Or they're going to come in with a dirty bomb. So we went over to Iraq on this false pretense, didn't we? But it was all based on fear, and the American people fear up really nice. And the reason, or the good thing for the world elite, is that the American people now do fear up rather nice. It's no longer the land of the free, that's for sure. And it's definitely not the home of the brave. It's the home of the cowardly. And it's home of the people that they have lost their moral compass. Totally lost it. How many people get sick at your stomach when, let's just say, like when the Twin Towers went down over in the Middle East? They're all happy out in the streets, and we used to say that was idiotic. It shows what kind of people they are. What happens when Osama bin Laden is announced to be dead? You turn on CNN, Fox News, NBC, whatever. You look out the window, except it's Americans. Because we killed Osama bin Laden. My, have we fallen as a people. Now, why am I talking about this? Now, if you're a Christian, you know this is coming anyway. It's prophesied. The lie, or the lie, is how it's said. Okay? They're both one and the same people. It's just a matter of what it's going to be. Okay? The deception, I think, it's my thoughts, but it could be anything, is a fake alien invasion. Okay? Or it could be something like that in combination with all kind of other things. Russia attacks us, or Ebola, or some sort of things going on like that at the same time. It's going to be fear on top of fear on top of fear, and almost all of it's going to be a lie. And almost everybody is going to believe it. The way the Bible puts it is, even the very elect, those who have the Holy Spirit and who are using their brain, even they could be deceived. All right? So, it kind of surprised me when I happened to mention something about flat Earth, and boy, that the freaking fire trucks start ringing. You would have think I said that, well, I guess that's the worst thing you can say, huh? I mean, think about it. Since we were kids, if you ridicule anybody that talks about a flat Earth, that's the funniest thing going, right? I'm sure I've done it myself. Why? Why do we do that without even proving anything for ourselves? So we look at all this, what supposedly is evidence out there, but we haven't really done the research ourselves. It's just what we've been told, okay? And, of course, there's a whole lot of different scientific theories as to why the Earth is round or flat or whatever. But how much of it have you looked at from both sides of the wheel? Okay, and there's all kind of controversy. You know, I got 80-some freaking comments on my video without even getting 400 views. I wish I had that kind of. I should have mentioned flat Earth a long time ago, because I've been wanting to get participation, because many brains working together equals more than 1 + 1 + 1 person working together or working apart. You get an exponential type of response if everybody works together. But people can't even take the time to thumbs up a video, and I'm not complaining because people aren't thumbs up my video. I'm just saying that people are passive. And they will take the time to thumbs down, and they will take the time to tell you they're going to unsubscribe because they think you're a lunatic because you mentioned something about flat Earth. Now, there's a lot of times I talk about stuff off the top of my head that don't make sense later when I go back and listen to it or think about it, because I tend to try to think on the fly, and sometimes I say stuff that just isn't what I really believe. But at the moment, I'm trying to work it through as I'm live, giving a video. So forgive me for sometimes saying things that might not make too much sense later on when I think it. But
hey, don't worry about it. I do the same thing all the time, and don't worry, somebody will call you on it.
In any case, what surprised me was the amount of people that immediately jumped on board. They responded to the programming. Let's put it that way. And I didn't think people on my channel would respond that way. And I think most did not. Probably most did, but didn't bother to let me know. They're holding their breath, hoping I totally haven't lost it. And folks, I haven't lost anything. And I'm going to explain why I even said a comment like that. Although there's a lot of controversy on how to prove the Earth is flat or round, if it's moving or not, if we are the center of the universe, and that's where this all started. It all started with me looking at having suspicious observers talk about 3 different probes that went up, and to show that the Earth was not the. Well, the first 2 were to show where is the center of the universe, and when the first 2 came back and said the Earth was at the center of the universe, the third one was set up and to disprove the first 2, but it came back with the same data. And I didn't want to believe that either, even though I want to believe it, because that means the deity is behind everything. Think about it. Let's say all of, when you get into that, you get into a lot of things. Most of the time you end up with a conclusion like this. Not only is the Earth flat, but everything revolves around the Earth. And the whole universe revolves around the Earth. It is the center when you get down to all the brass tacks in a lot of these different theories, how they end up anyway. So if you want to really go down the rabbit hole or open it up, think about all that stuff. But let's just say all that is true. Everything revolves around the Earth is flat, and like I said, everything interacts off the Earth, and the entire millions and millions of parsecs of space, Earth is the main thing. Doesn't that tell you there's a deity involved? If a deity is involved, doesn't that take away from the power of the church and the elite of the world? Speaking of the church, the reason why the Catholic Church has so much power and why so many people hand it right over to them is because they say they are the vicar of Christ on earth, and you have hundreds of millions of people around the globe that believe it.
And, this is one of the few guys that's mixing up this theory that I'm talking about and talks about the Vatican. So, I've got to hand it to him. He's done a little bit of research there.
It's a globe. Maybe I still think it's round, huh? I don't know. Anyway, you got hundreds of millions of people that believe this, and it's because they are saying, as the vicar of Christ, that the Pope is God on earth. That's how they get the power. And there's nobody more powerful than the Vatican. Nobody. They are the Illuminati. They are the Luciferians. They are the elite. And yes, they're tied in with all the other elites you know of. The Queen of England, all the high politicians, the Bilderbergers, on and on.